Hello, welcome back to class 20. This is video 2. Here's another example. As you can see up at the top, it says the words another example. That's the kind of in-depth insight I provide. All right, so there's a 4-bar. Looks a little different from the other 4-bar because the center of gravity for link 4 is a little offset. There's also some of the difference. Okay, so they put a torque 3, some external torque is being applied to this link for some reason. We have that external torque on 4 here. There's also a force on 4 that didn't exist in the previous example, but they still have the force on 3. At least in this generic setup right here, that force and that force are applied onto here. So let's take a look at the problem. So this is 11.5a. I chose this because we have the solution manual exists. Norton doesn't have the solution to every one of the problems in the problems where he has like a table where he has got multiple problems. Like this right here, for example, is the table that I'm referring to right here, table P11.3. You can see there's rows A through G. He only has the solution manual, so I can't really quite check and see if I got it right, but I can for this one. And so here's the summary of this. Once again, we're using inches and we're using the blobs, and a blob inch squared for moment of inertia. As I walk through there, I like to just make little marks on the screen. So I'll do that. But you could see the important information is we have 4, 12, 8, 15 are the main dimensions of our 4-bar. This is just for a snapshot in time in which theta 2 is 45 degrees. So with that information, we could also have found theta 3 and theta 4. So kind of weirdly, he decides to go with alpha 2 right here before he goes to omega 2. But those are, with those two pieces of information, well, with just the omega 2, we could find omega 3 and omega 4, and we could find alpha 3 and alpha 4 if we knew those omegas and we knew alpha 2. Other information we need the mass of each of the links, the moment of inertia, and okay, so here's the external torques that are on 3 and 4. We're going to try to find the torque on 2. That's our main objective. We also have dimensions of where the center of mass is located. And apparently they're all, well, at least on 2 and 3, they're right on the center line because the angle is 0 here. But they are a little off right here for link 4. These accelerations, all of these, we could find for ourselves, including down here. We could find those with the information given. These external forces, there's nothing on link 3, but there is something on link 4 with a negative 30 degrees, and it's at a position of 8, but it looks like it's down the center line. All right, so that's the setup that we have going on for us. We can put them all into the inputs here. So here's all the information that we need. By the way, let's see. I'm gonna double check. Ooh, sorry. Right in here. Sure enough, we are going 20 and 20. All right. So that's what I didn't see that. Didn't make that clear. So right there, 20 and 20. We have in there. So there's the link 3 right here. Here's all that input information. And then here's link 4, and here's all this input information. And I believe, yeah, sure, those, you can just go down one at a time and see that they match up. Here's that external force. It's 0, but I kept it on here in case I wanted to use this code again. Here's that external force on 4. And here it's broken it down into x and y components. And here's that external torque on 3 and 4. And now here is the position analysis, which I've done with a Newton-Raphson. We've done this before, but this and by the way, I don't like how I've started out the angles here. I kind of wish I had kind of set them in there. The guess is up higher than right there because I'd rather have my calculated stuff be down here. It says calculated information, but here's something you'd have to input a guess at what those were going to be. And 45 is not a very good guess, by the way, I don't think. But whatever. And here's the position vectors. So this is, these are just calculated things right here. I went more deeply into each of these one by one in the previous video. I won't bother here. But each of these really, remember, describes the location of something from the center of mass. Really, is kind of that's that kind of the big idea with the naming and the arrangement. So here's the velocity analysis out of chapter 6 and the acceleration analysis out of chapter 7. And as I mentioned previously, I shouldn't have used capital A and capital B and so forth because it gets overused variables. But I got away with it, and I cleared it when I was done, so maybe that gives me a little ray of hope. All right, so here we're getting the accelerations. We didn't need the acceleration of B, but I did it anyway. So here's the accelerations at the center of gravity, and we need to do those. They were given to us, but I went ahead and calculated them anyway because we could, which is the truth for a lot of things. So here's the main matrix for the geometry ones. I usually call that geometry information, or yeah, I guess it is. Here's the dynamic information. Some of the only differences between the previous one was that I included some of those forces down here that weren't on 4, but I've also included the torque on 3. So now they've been put in there. And then you just solve. B is equal to A / C. And here I get the information out of B that I want for each of the joints and the all-important torque at the end. And then I print it out onto the bar there. I don't know what to call that. But here it is, copy and pasted right there. And so this is the information. Here's the really important guy. We want to see how he did. And here's a clipping from the solution manual. And lo and behold, yay, I got the correct torque. We could also compare all of the accelerations at the center of gravity. These are, I believe these were given, but I ended up getting them in my, just to make sure that he was, it was true. And then right here, we can see that we have all these forces right here. And there you go. Yep, got that guy. Got this guy right here. Yep. I don't need to go through each of them, but we got close even down to this guy right there. So boom, and it's essentially identical. Yay! I think this is it for this problem. Except that we can prove that I actually got it. So let's see that it actually worked. Ooh, what's not going on here? It's not coming back up. All right. Why isn't Alt Tab? Boom. This is me getting frustrated with this other problem. But here, I believe this is 11.3a. And if we go through it, boom. No, that's 11.3a. There's 11.5a. Boom. So there you go. There's 176.37. So in case you didn't believe that my MATLAB spit out the correct answer, there is proof of it. Thank you. And we'll go and do another example. I believe what we have coming up is a crank slider. I don't know why he's calling it a Fourbar, but this is the name of the chapter. So there you go. He's calling it is. I guess it is kind of a Fourbar. We'll talk to you soon.